I hope it's going to go. There we go. We're back. I'm sorry that we had to do it. Apparently, this is going to be a regular thing. So,
Well,
would you type on there uh, when you come in? Please don't
yeah,
forget to hit
yep, I
thumbs
will.
up. Yeah, hi, we're back. Deborah E found us. Yay. Yeah, I think we're going to have to do that about the 1 hour mark if we're going to try and keep going over more and more.
Well, there's a
So,
good chance I broke it because when I came back in from tuning in on my PC,
mhm.
that's when y'all started having buffering issues.
Yeah,
So
it could be. It may be that
it
we just can't do two
there's
things at once when I'm live streaming.
well, our bandwidth isn't supposed to be all that limited, but you never know.
Yeah,
We've
and
got
it is
there's
Sunday afternoon.
there's a lot of devices in this house that take bandwidth. Trust me.
That's true too.
Which is actually, I'm not going to brag here, but there's a new addition to the hardware in our household that I've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah.
We went out and bought a big screen TV. I mean,
Hi, thanks, Freaky.
75-inch TCL Roku equipped television set with all the smartness that you can possibly get in one of these sets nowadays.
It's like being in a movie.
And we watched a couple of nature shows last night.
Oh,
One of the things that we like is what do they call that? It's a planet Earth kind of thing. Oh, Earth from Above.
Earth from above.
It's on PBS. If you haven't seen that program, I really encourage you to try to find it and pick it up. And I'm sure they've probably got it on live stream on PBS. But it's awesome. It's just awesome. And on this 75-inch TV, looking down at the patterns on the Earth, which is what this program was about last night,
Lisa has a 50.
it's like being there. I swear. I mean, we had a
It is.
42-inch or 46-inch in there before, and I
47.
thought that was big. But this 75-inch is it's like being there, and the colors are just
Phyllis.
awesome.
Sorry.
Well, I
Hi, Phyllis.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to dominate, but it's
Go
my new
ahead.
toy. It's my new toy.
And it's awesome.
and I'm
Part of
having
one of the shows that we watched last night, was it the Nile that we watched or the
Well,
Amazon? One
yeah,
of
the
them.
Amazon.
The
Oh,
Amazon.
how it makes the new lakes and stuff.
Yes.
How it wanders through.
They
They took
watched-
pictures over 30 years.
Yeah, they watched the Amazon from satellites and took pictures for over 30 years. And they played it back. Of course, not 30 years at one time, but they played it back and you could see how the river changed its courses and made lakes and moved everywhere.
It
It
would
was
cut off
amazing.
sections, and then those would become lakes, and the flow would join up with another flow, and then they called them horseshoes.
Hmm.
And on a lot of these horseshoes, whole villages have just cropped up because now they're literally on the edge of a freshwater lake, and some of these are pretty big. I mean, just one picture they were looking out over the lake, you couldn't see the other side, so you're talking about a big lake. But the images it's really cool. They'll first show the scene from space, looking down, and you got this big mosaic, and then it just starts zooming in. And like a couple of weeks ago, they zoomed in and went right down to one elephant
Yeah.
out in the middle of Africa. And I mean, this thing went, and then they transition. They've got obviously it's not from space, but then there's ground cameras, and then they go in and they tell a story. And last night they were creating a little bit of drama that they didn't need to with a partridge family. But in any case, they swoop down with these images from space, and then they go right down to ground level. It's fascinating. I really encourage you to look for it.
Yeah. And another thing they had, this was just fascinating to both of us, but they were talking about how the earth changes through both nature and man and also animals. And there was a place in a large forested area, I think it was in the rainforest, where 1,000-mile area that had been forested was no longer forested because the elephants would go to this area because the water in the dry season was just under the surface. And so the elephants would make their way to this area when it was hot and dry, and they would drag their feet and dig and bring the water up so they could get to water.
Yeah, they were forest elephants out of Africa, and there was a certain mineral in the water or the mud that they needed in their diet that they couldn't get by eating out in the forest. So they would wander in and out of this place throughout the year. Sometimes there'd be as many as maybe 100 elephants there. And
Hi,
because of
partly
them
cloudy.
tramping around and everything else, they literally keep the other vegetation from growing. So they have this enormous place right in the middle of the forest, just bare. And then when you scoop down on it, you've got a whole bunch of elephants wandering around. So,
And it was really neat because as they started zooming in from the satellite, you could see elephants walking around. And as they got closer, you realized it was not the elephants that you were seeing, but their shadows.
Yeah.
And their shadows made them look like 20 feet, 30 feet tall, but it was the shadows. The elephants were down at the bottom of them. As they got closer, you could tell the difference. It was amazing.
no television, McCoy's Oak Hill Farm. Well, more power to you. I could live that way, but at my age, since I don't really do a lot, television is my main entertainment. That and my computer.
For many years, I didn't watch television. And what's really funny is during that time, I owned a television and stereo repair company, but I didn't watch TV. And for a lot of those years, I didn't own a TV. But David and I both loved the nature and other documentaries so much that now I get down there and I sit and crochet or sew or whatever and watch these documentaries. And I can't imagine not doing it anymore.
Well, I bore to death with all the programs that I watch, all the universe and space programs and all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of hooked on the Science Channel, but and Kate just sits over there and either plays on her phone or reads or sometimes watches it.
Or
There's
crochets.
a few programs on real television that we watch, but not many.
Yeah.
But now this Roku that I've got, it hooks right directly into my Netflix account, over to our Amazon Prime account, and there are a lot of free streaming services, and I'm still exploring. I haven't even begun to scratch the surface yet about what's available to us now that we have more or less a fully connected smart TV. So I'm having fun.
And I watch a lot of YouTube too, but usually I'm in here on my computer doing that because I have a great, big, beautiful monitor attached to my laptop.
Yeah, it's a
Dave got me.
24-inch monitor. It's sitting right here in front of me. McCoy's Oak Hill Farm. I cannot watch most television. If there's anything I want to watch, I record it and then we play it back because I really detest commercials. But there are just so many programs out there that I would not waste my time on.
Roberta, most of the ones that we watch are either on the Nature Channel or on Sci-Fi Go. We get both of those through our cable.
Roberta, it was on PBS. The program that I was talking about, it's called what was it, Earth from
Earth
Above?
from Above, yes.
And it's a weekly series now. They've had about maybe 3 episodes. Absolutely fascinating. Random question: if you could be part of one TV sitcom movie family, which would it be? Okay.
I don't.
I'm not going
have
to
any
say
idea.
Breaking Bad. That's for sure.
You're not going to say what?
Breaking Bad. That was a. Whoa.
I'd probably be part of the Virginian. That was an old Western movie from back in the 50s. Evans Essentials would be Dukes of Hazzard.
Maybe Father Knows Best. No, I don't think I'd fit there. No.
I wouldn't. Leave It to Beaver?
Yeah, something like that. Now, let's see. What would I be part of? I'm going to have to think about this for a minute.
I like the Virginia. Actually, I take it back. The one TV show or movie or whatever that I would want to be part of is one I'm currently watching, and it's called How the West Was Won, the story of the McCahan family. It has
Waltons,
been.
That's a good choice.
Pardon?
Somebody chose the Waltons.
Yeah, the Waltons is a good one too.
I think Bonanza would be my choice.
The Rifleman. Lisa likes
Oh, yes. I love that show.
The Rifleman.
Yeah.
But the thing I like about How the West Was Won and makes it near to my heart is some of the lead characters are strong women who are making it in the Old West of the mid 1800s. So that makes them near and dear to my heart.
James Arness is kind of the old timer in the family. This was after.
He's the patriarch.
Yeah, he was after Gunsmoke, and He's kind of in and out of it. He's not in every story, but it's a
Frankie, that fits you perfectly. Frankie Geek
Dennis
wants to
the
be Dennis the
Menace.
Menace. That's perfect for you. I agree. Deborah E.
Little
says
House
Little
on the
House.
Prairie is a good one too. Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
is.
cool. That's interesting. See what
Happy, welcome.
see
Glad
what,
to
what
see you.
families we've been part of.
We're talking about the question, if you could be part of any TV show or family, any one, what would it be? We've got a lot of different ideas too. So tell us, who would you be?
What was the name of that family in Lost in Space?
Oh goodness.
That would be one I'd
Not
work.
Dr. Smith, but
No, it
I
wouldn't
know
be
who you're
him,
talking
but-
about. I don't want to be Dr. Smith.
That would be a fun one to be in.
Although Stargate Atlantis would be a nice one to be part of. Although I don't like the Wraith.
That Stargate Atlantis would have to be my first choice. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's a
so
pretty cool place. Partly cloudy. How old is your bird? This one is about 7. We have 2 others. One is in his mid to late 20s, and the
you're
other
just
one is
a
in his early
punk kid. You know that you're still almost juvenile. He's
Yeah.
barely an adult.
And he's confused because he thinks I'm his mate. Iron Firehorse says
Archie
Archie Bunker's family.
Yeah.
Wild,
Ooh,
Wild
Wild
West.
West. That was a good one too.
Lisa, that's much like How the West was won that I'm watching now.
Stargate Atlantis. Well,
Actually,
either one, but I think if I had my druthers, I'd kind of like to see what the Pegasus Galley looks like. So I guess I'd go with Atlantis. Even though there is
too.
the Wraith there, let's just hope they didn't. They keep their distance and I'll keep mine.
Robinsons. Roberta says
That's the Robinsons.
Thank you, Roberta.
Thank you. That was right. Yeah. I'd probably have to be the dad in that one.
The Iron Firehorse. Our neighbors were
Black. We're all
Black
still
and-
friends. Oh, kind of like back in Archie Bunker days. You know, my dad was a bit of an Archie Bunker in a lot of
Was he?
ways.
mine.
Well,
wasn't.
very, very opinionated, very biased. But the thing was, even though he had all of these prejudices, we had everybody over at the house. I mean, there were Mexicans, blacks. Something I never thought I'd see my dad. He had a friend that was Japanese, and my
His
dad
dad
fought.
was in
My
World War
dad
II.
fought in the Pacific in World War II, and what few stories he told were really awful about the Japanese.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't buy anything made in Japan back in those days. This is back in the 50s. And, you know, Japan was kind of like China is nowadays. Everything was made in Japan. He wouldn't touch those products. Just a few shows I used to watch. You know, Freaky Geek, Leave It to Beaver, Lost in Space. Yeah, the new
Addams
movie was
Family.
okay. Addams Family. There's a good choice.
I like that. I could be
Yeah.
mortician.
Andy Griffith and My Three Sons. Well, that's a little bit. That's pretty vanilla, but yeah, good choices.
Deborah E., your dad was very biased. I'm very fortunate. My dad was the opposite. Now, my grandfather, who was a very big influence on my life, was very, very biased. He grew up in Selby, Alabama. He was born in 1905. So that gives you an idea. And being from Alabama and from that time frame, he was very biased as well. And
McCoy, wars can make people biased against others.
Jim
I think
Murphy,
I-
the rifleman.
I found out something probably about my dad last night that I didn't know.
Hi, Lori.
He fought throughout the Pacific. And the battle that I watched the progress on last night was, oh gosh, what was that? Wasn't Okinawa, but anyway, they were kind of running through this battle, and it was absolutely horrible. And it took 83 days to take this island, and there were massive casualties. And my dad only told a couple of stories about that particular battle, one of which being that he was in a cave, and during the course of the night, he and the fellows that were in that cave with him took on 5 bonsai charges. Now, my father had what I guess you'd call a Tommy gun, a 30 caliber machine gun, and he would take the clips and tape them together. So he had 3 clips that he could just flip, flip, flip. So he had, quite a few rounds. But they took those 5 charges that night, and he said the next morning you couldn't even see over the bodies. But he said he ruined the gun, melted the barrel on it after a while. But anyway, Grandpa was in World War II, landed on Omaha Beach. That was a toughie. It's a good thing he's your grandfather, because a whole lot of them didn't make it out of there. Yeah, I'm grateful every morning when I wake up too. Just Kate's usually out of bed by the time I wake up.
Yeah. I'm an early morning person.
But
He's not.
I am grateful for who I sleep beside, I'll tell you that.
Deborah E., what part of Texas did you grow up in? Lou White, hello, welcome, and thank you for your answers.
Doc Adams in Gunsmoke, Lou White, that's a good choice. That was about the most compassionate character in that whole series. Yeah, Bonanza, Wagon Train, Gunsmoke. Yeah, don't forget Rawhide. Rawhide's a good one too.
McCoy's my grandfather was also in World War II, and we've discovered that he served in similar places to where Dave's dad was, and might even have served in the same area. I don't know.
McCoy's, it says that he was the only one in his original group that survived.
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
That's,
that would be hard. That would be very hard.
I think those are hard memories to carry forward from that point.
Yeah.
Deborah, so you're in the Fort Worth area. Okay. We know where that is.
Oh, yes.
Had to drive through there a few times. Ain't no fun.
Actually, Houston is worse.
Oh, Houston, yeah. Okay.
Houston is a lot worse than Fort Worth. Fort Worth is a little country town that grew up. It still has the country attitude, but it's not country anymore.
Deborah, you're in Oregon. That's where my son is. What's the name of that town? I'll think of it in a minute, but my son's in Oregon too.
He didn't talk about until later years we talked about because
he didn't want anybody to grandiose his service, which he had. Yeah. My dad was like very quiet about that, told a couple of stories, but I would try to get stuff out of him. As a kid, you're fascinated by a war hero, because he was. Just wouldn't talk about
it. Freaky says they don't say Houston, we have a problem for nothing.
That's a good point.
And that particular area of the space effort is truly just outside of Houston. I have been past it hundreds of times.
Iron Fireworks said no one in my family made it back from the war. Well, it's a good thing you're here.
He was a combat radio operator. He ran commies through the enemy lines. Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
McCoy, your grandfather is 6.
Good for him.
Your grandfather is 6 years older than my mom.
Yeah.
You lived in Texas in 1964. Before that, you were overseas. In 1964, I moved from Corpus Christi to San Antonio with my parents.
And I was going through my junior year of high school at McCollum High School in San Antonio.
Yep. And I moved up here and started high school in San Antonio. Partly Cloudy's dad fought in the Korean War. My dad wanted to be in the military. In World War II, he borrowed a birth certificate from a friend's brother who had passed away in the fighting and enlisted in the Marines. And he got all the way through Marine boot camp before they discovered that he was only 14. They sent him home. He tried to enlist in the Air Force or Army Air Corps, and they wouldn't take him. So when Korea came along, he wanted to enlist again and be part of that effort. But by the time Korea came on, he had a wife and 4 children, and they wouldn't take him because he had too many dependents. So although my dad wanted to be in the service didn't want him. It used to hurt his feelings a lot. It's actually a miracle that I'm here, given my family's history over the centuries. Really?
Well, that's true of anybody. I was reading something the other day that, the chances that any one of us exists are like 3 million to 1. When you go back through all the generations on both sides of your family bloodlines, if you think about it, it was only the survivors that had kids, and then only those survivors had kids. And it was not uncommon back in the Middle Ages for a family to have 10 kids and lose 7. So any one of us that made it this far, that can track back our bloodline, it's pretty amazing that we're here. Every one of us is a miracle, is the bottom line. So,
Lisa's father was in the military
for
30 years.
Say again?
Lisa's father was in the military for 30 years. He was in the military for 20.
Well, between my brother and my father and myself, we have 76 years of total federal active military service. So,
Jim Murphy,
it's kind of in my blood.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was an honor.
No, G. Murphy said.
Oh, okay.
He was an Air Force
Yeah.
Gulf War veteran.
Okay. Gulf War's got all my respect. All my respect. Yep.
He would not make. Oh, McCoy's grandfather and his friends
G.
went
Murphy,
to a
okay.
palm reader before they shipped out in the war. And the palm reader told him that they wouldn't make it. Apparently, he was the only one that did.
Huh.
Mm.
Wow.
What did you do in the military? Casey wants to know.
Actually, I started out as a medic. And then after a lot of years as that, I cross-trained into computer programming, which I worked for an outfit called the 1000th Satellite Operations Group in Omaha. And we flew weather satellites.
I'm going to go put him away.
Okay. We flew weather satellites that gathered data that then came down to an outfit called Global Weather. And that was transmitted worldwide for what you could call as close as you could get to real-time weather forecasting for all of our forces overseas. We had three, it was called the DMSP program, Defense Meteorological Satellite Program. Some of the most fun I ever had in my life. It was wonderful working there. We were actually in the building. Our outfit was located in the hangar where the Enola Gay was built, which is, of course, the aircraft that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. But I have a little plaque, a piece of wood, that is part of the original floor from that building. Whenever people would retire, theoretically, if they had been in good graces with their commanders, apparently, you got one of these bricks from Building D, which was the hangar where the Enola Gay was built. And I've got that around here somewhere, and I've got a little plaque on it that is one of my most cherished possessions, by the way, to actually have a piece of the floor out of Building D where the Enola Gay was put together. That's just amazing. That, by the way, the only reason the Enola Gay was chosen for that mission is because it passed every single quality check they did. There were absolutely nothing wrong with that aircraft. And, that's from nose to tail.
Right.
So that's how that particular aircraft was chosen for that mission, because it was perfect.
Did you see what Roberta
Third
said?
generation Army brat. Yep.
Good for you.
They wouldn't take me because you didn't have the legal separation or divorce from the husband. There's a lot of reasons they won't take you anymore, that's for sure.
My dad, as you know, was not in the military.
True story, Casey, I swear.
My grandfather was in the military. He started out in the cavalry. And he retired from the cavalry.
You mean really on horseback?
Yes. He really was horseback.
Okay.
He retired from that and signed up to be in the Army. And he was in the Army for a while. And when the Air Force separated from the Army, he wanted to go with the Air Force, but they wouldn't let him because he had bad eyesight by then. So he retired and started his own business in electronics, wiring houses. So.
Well, G. Murphy, if that's directed at me, thank you. I appreciate that. I think most of us that have time in the military that we retired, I didn't appreciate what I was doing when I was doing it. And for a long time afterwards. So I'm a Vietnam era war veteran, so we didn't get the same degree of understanding or respect that our veterans are getting today, for which I am extremely grateful. Every one of them deserves it.
Yes.
But, I actually had a guy spit on me in the airport in Fresno.
Welcome back, Celtic.
I'll never forget that. No desire to join. That's more than, we need people home. We need people to go be warriors. That's all there is to it. And
I am ashamed to say that during the 60s in the Vietnam War, I was a hippie. I did sit-ins. I passed out flowers at the airports and told people peace and love and that kind of thing. I did not support the military at that time.
I'm not sure I did either. You got to admit, when you're in the service, you've taken an oath and you're going to fulfill it.
Yeah.
But on a personal note, I disagreed with the war in Vietnam, but I still volunteered to go there.
Right.
But they decided to send me to Alaska instead. But anyway, when you're in the service, I think most service members have mixed emotions about their service, depending on the political climate. We always, when I went through the Air Force or the NCO Academy, one of the things they taught us was that the military is literally one of the tools of diplomacy that the government has at hand.
Excuse me.
Most
High rolling
extreme.
homestead. Sorry.
That's right. Most extreme, obviously, but we're just a component. So it got to my mind, being used as a tool doesn't really sound good to me, but all things considered, that's exactly what we are.
Rolling homestead.
Okay,
This is
let's
my
see.
husband Dave, and we do this show together on Sunday. He says, Rolling Homestead said, "Thank you for your service."
Thank you.
And she's a vet too, and we have several vets here today. It's amazing.
So Gramps is there with you?
Casey, was I really a hippie? Yes, I was really a hippie. Long hair, dressed in leather with the long fringe, the whole thing. I was a hippie.
I wanted to be, but I was already in the service.
And it was very
Deborah.
upsetting to my dad because he was a police officer.
Both of your husbands were in the Vietnam War, then you know what it's like to live with a vet. Oh, ashamed of being in the military? Didn't even mention in his obituary. Iron Fire Horse, that's too bad. There was a time whenever admitting that you were a veteran,
Take care, Roberta.
You never knew what was going to happen, how they were going to respond, but thank God those days are past. I mean, one of the things we're looking forward to, I think it's on the 16th, but every year here in Cibolo, they have a Thanksgiving dinner for all the military and veterans. Now, you have to understand that we live in Military Town, USA. San Antonio is officially military town. What's that? About the place they retired on?
Iron Fire Horse said he was discharged because he was too violent.
Oh, well, you were just in the wrong branch, man. You should have been a gyrene or a commando.
No, Iron Fire Horse wasn't. This is one of her relatives.
Oh, okay. Oh, he was discharged because he was too violent. Well, that's,
retired on sometimes we wish kept the old phone.
There's a whole lot of tough people out there that just, once they find an excuse to be even tougher, they take it. Okay, let's see. What else we got?
I'm doing a
Miss
live.
You guys going to go live soon. Cool. Good for you.
Neat. That's one thing you like about San Antonio is the military presence.
Yep. Because more than 10% of this entire area here is military or retired.
Yeah.
So that's when you think about it, that's a significant statistic. But anyway, we're going to this Thanksgiving dinner, and the whole thing, and they start planning this thing as soon as the last one's done. Is just a huge, big celebration for all veterans.
Why ecocentric?
And they take us to our table, and then children, their kids, come and serve us our plates, and it's totally cool. I love it.
And the placemats are drawn by the kids.
Yeah.
The art is just precious.
And they'll have somebody there, playing music, and then they have tons and tons and tons of door prizes or drawing prizes. They give you a couple tickets when you go, and some of the prizes that are given away are really significant.
First time we went, we won tickets to a local movie theater.
Yeah, Lackland's where I went through my basic training, and actually I didn't miss it after I left.
It's on the other side of the world from where we are.
Yeah, it's way down in South San Antonio, and we're northeast. I'm
going to turn the camera a little so you can see more of David.
Well, that's not a favor to me.
Let's see. Rolling Homestead said, "Not today, freaky finishing stuff around the homestead before it gets nasty up here. When this is over, I've got to go out and protect my tender plants and trees because we're supposed to be getting a bad freeze tomorrow or the day after, and I want to get everything as protected as I can."
Celtic Bear, Charleston Air Base. That's cool. That's 5 miles. We're about that same distance from Randolph. So
yeah,
if and when we need to go there, we don't go there that much. I'm not sure why.
I used to go every day I went shopping because I like to shop in the commissary. But then I lost my ID. And I couldn't get on base, so I got out of the habit. Now I've got my ID back, and I just keep forgetting to go. And I like going to the BX, too.
Yeah, BX is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the exchange is fun.
The lighting and background is much better in this location, guys, rather than Kate's study. Okay, you're right. That was Kate's study.
And I'm going to kind of make note of what we've got open and on, so
The
we
lighting.
can continue this.
And mostly
lighting.
it's the windows that are open. There are no
Yeah.
lights in the room proper where we're sitting. We've got
we've
windows
got,
over here, and in the birds' room,
We've got
we've
a
got
fluorescent
the
light
overheads.
over the birds and the windows back there, and then the windows up here in the front. So
Thank you, Casey.
appreciate that. We never, you can't really tell how you look on your own screens.
Lisa, I used to live within spitting distance of the landing strip for Bergstrom, and yeah, when they closed that down, it was a very sad day in Austin.
Huh. G. Murphy graduated from the 3704 BMTS. That's Basic Military Training Squadron, I believe.
Oh, okay.
The last graduating honor flight. Oh, and the smallest. Only 25 of us made it out of 52. Well, good on you. Good on you.
Freaky. No, my study doesn't. I actually have a separate room for that.
Iron Fire Horse, 1%. You got plenty of time.
Mine shuts down when it gets to 1%. Thanks for coming, though.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Appreciate you coming here. Really do.
Yeah, you did try, Freaky. You're right.
Oh.
I would like for that part of the house to have some kitchen stuff too. Actually, no, I would like for it to have a door to the pantry so it's easier to get in and out of.
That's one of the things I hope to rectify with the housing grant if we get it, is put a door to the pantry in.
Yeah.
The stupidest design of this whole home is that this one, quote, bedroom is only accessible down a very narrow hallway. It needs its own door, which would actually open into the kitchen, but it still needs its own door. We're going to try to fix that.
Yeah, and it's a little bitty bedroom too.
Under the stairs, yeah.
Under the stairs. That's not a bad idea, but we don't have any stairs.
Yeah, they put some good shelves on it, and when it's under the stairs, it almost ends up being like what's the things they put underground?
Oh,
root cellar.
Yeah.
Thank you. House was built around
2009.
2009, something like that. It's a manufactured home. It's a triple wide, but it was put up on site. It's, and it's on a concrete slab, and it's, other than bringing it here, it's never had wheels under it, but it's altogether about 3,000 square feet. So it's huge.
It's big, and it's all carpeted, so there's lots of vacuuming. Even the bathrooms are carpeted, which just
that just amazing.
The only room that's not carpeted is the kitchen, and there's a spot in front of the front door that's not carpeted. Mm-hmm. Everything else is carpeted.
The woman who had this built was, well, I'll be kind and say she was a little strange.
Thank you.
Okay, Casey has a lot more random questions up her sleeve. So if you ever want one to spark another conversation, let me know, huh? Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. Throw one out,
you
Casey.
want to jump in
Throw
and
one out.
Join us.
Let's get with it.
McCoy said she thinks every house should have a root cellar, a cheese cave, a pantry, and a big kitchen. And I agree.
Some people would say wine cellars too, but not me.
Yeah. We have turned the breakfast nook that's in this one into part of the kitchen. I've taken the spare bedroom and turned it into the pantry. So we don't have a root cellar, which I would love to have, but we've got the other things, and I really love having them. I just need a door to get into the pantry.
And what you could call my man cave is nothing more than a storage room.
Right, but that's only your fault.
Yeah.
You don't go in there. If you went in there, we'd do something with it.
I wouldn't know how to. I've never had a study. Right. I wouldn't know how to use it. The water level in some places, parentheses. Well, I don't think that'd be a problem here.
No, Frankie, there's not enough water here to have a water level.
You got to dig way down to get water in Texas, this part of Texas.
Ecocentric, I would think it would depend on the part of the country. We have gone in the past to several caves in the area that they have set up for tourists to go through, and I always think it's going to be cold when we go in there. I prepare for cold, wear long sleeves, bring a sweater and all of that, and we get down there and the temperature's 75, 78. So if wine can be stored at that kind of heat, it would probably go well in the pantry, in a root cellar here. But
we got another great random question. If you could uninvent something, take it out of this world, what would it be? You got to think about that one. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is probably not right, but let's see. I got to think about this. What would I uninvent?
I can think of things I get rid of, but they're natural. They're not inventions. I'm not sure. Hmm.
You know what? I think I have to go back and say something like the Gatling gun. You know,
Why would you uninvent the Gatling gun?
because it was a game changer. You know, it was kind of like the original machine gun.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know. Let's see.
Lisa, this house is what some people call a mobile home.
Yeah.
And
Manufactured home is really more
Yeah.
appropriate because it's never really been mobile.
no, it's never had wheels.
Okay,
But I'll tell you what, I lived in one that had wheels and I loved them. They give you a lot of livable space for a whole lot less than a stick-built home. So,
Deborah says that my sister passed away 3 years ago. I adopted her cat, Kit. Kit laid in my lap for the first time this week. Oh my!
congratulations. That's a huge, huge
Wow.
step.
Lisa, to answer your question about mobile homes, Palm Harbor is a really good brand to go if you just want to browse and look at and see what you might be able to get for your money. You could call them maybe a little pricey, but they're a very good image of what a quote mobile home looks like as far as living space and stuff. It's worth a look. It really is. I would remove herbicides, pesticides, and insecticides. That's a good choice, McCoy.
Yeah.
That's a good choice. It would be
agree.
so much better in this world if we could just use natural means. They're
I-
out there. We just don't want to use them.
I would get rid of
Mine would be people.
cockroaches and bed bugs,
Pesticides.
inside bugs. Oh, I want to get rid of them. They're nasty.
That's a good choice there. Let's see.
Deborah wants to get rid of microwaves. I can't say that. I use mine too often.
Travel in a mobile home if you're under house arrest.
I guess you could as long as your house.
Oh
is
no,
with you.
can't take away the microwave, Deborah. Oh gosh, no, please not. No, microwave is like one of the better. Well, I guess it depends on who you are, but our microwave gets used all the time.
Yeah.
Some bugs, yeah, but that they weren't invented; they were created. So we got to go argue with God on those. Which I do have questions for him.
I agree
No.
with you.
Why did you make fire ants?
Yeah.
What is their purpose?
I know why he made tarantulas.
Atomic weapons come to mind for me too. They really did.
I like tarantulas.
Yeah, Lisa, you're absolutely right. I got to thinking about it. I said, well,
Palmetto bugs. That's a good one, sir. Calvin.
considering how World War II might have turned out were it not for the atomic bomb, I probably wouldn't be here. My father was actually en route to Japan for a land invasion when the atomic bomb was dropped. So they expected 1 million casualties if they had to invade mainland Japan. Chances are good I wouldn't be here.
Freaky fire ants when you're stuck out in the woods and you have nothing else to use to start the fire.
Yeah, palmetto bugs, that's a good one for him too. Boy, I've seen some huge ones in Florida. Woo.
Yeah. And they're pretty big here. When I lived in San Antonio, there was the house directly across the street from us had a palm tree. And it was not a palm tree that had dates or anything like that. It was just this huge palm tree. And it was infested with those palmetto bugs. And at night in the summer, you could hear them rattling inside the tree all up and down. It was awful. I
Yuck.
hated them.
New dance last time we got fire ants. Yeah, I heard that.
By the way, for anybody who does have fire ants, I have a solution, and it's natural. I read or saw something on YouTube, and I tried it, and it works. I got 100% orange oil that I bought from Amazon, brought it home, and mixed a quarter cup in a gallon of water and poured it on the ant bed, and it kills them. And it kills them now, and they don't spread and don't come from other places in. It kills them. It's awesome. I'm so thrilled that I found out about it because we have lots of ants in our house or in our yard, and it's getting rid of them. It really is. It's wonderful.
I know what I would invent.
What?
Radar gun.
Why?
Cops and speeders.
Oh, that's just because you have a heavy foot.
Yeah.
Let's see. No fire ants.
You're very lucky. They're moving north gradually but persistently.
It's good for all ants, whether it's fire ants or red ants or whatever. I think it even works on sugar ants. Fire ants don't like cayenne pepper either. That's true, and neither do palmetto bugs. I have a friend that lives in Louisiana, and she sprinkles cayenne pepper around all of her windows and in front of all of her doors. She doesn't have problems with palmetto bugs coming in. Although here in Texas, they come up through the drains. But she says she doesn't have them.
Egocentric, I think, is asking me if I've got fast driving awards before.
A
couple.
He has awards from the police department for fast driving.
That's what she's saying. Yeah. I've had some fast cars in my life. I'll put it that way. Yes. I don't know. Fire ant stop biting. I'm sorry, that doesn't quite make sense. But
baking soda
works.
I hadn't tried that.
Yeah, I think Kate's solution would probably work on the. I don't know. Carpenter ants are pretty tough though, but it might work on them.
They supposedly don't like the orange oil.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably the orange oil.
That's the only thing I've used. Now, I've heard of other things, like one said vinegar, Epsom salts, and water would kill them.
Wasn't there a little bit of dish soap in that one too?
No, that's for getting rid of weeds.
Oh, okay.
The ants, they didn't have the dish soap in there. You're welcome, Lisa. I hope it helps with your carpenter ants.
Oh boy.
Lived in Georgia after I got out of the Air Force. I almost died from being bitten by multiple fire ants. I can believe that.
Yep.
I can believe that. And especially if you're allergic to them, then it's really dangerous.
And they have they have what they call a black fly over in Florida.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about them. And I got hit on the right calf by some of them one night sitting out on my deck. And I mean, for months and months, I had these literally almost like open sores and scabs, and it left permanent scars. I mean, they were nasty.
Yep.
And they were only on me, I mean, a very short period of time until I brushed them off, but they really did some damage. So apparently I'm definitely allergic to those puppies.
Lisa said cats don't like citrus either. Doesn't seem to bother mine at all. He's out there in the yard where I put that orange oil, and doesn't seem to make any problem for him at all.
All natural is to take a shovelful from one anthill to another hill. They will duke it out, won't they? That's very true.
Good idea. I hadn't thought about trying that.
That's
Harry, you're back. Thank you.
That's a very clever idea. I like that.
And yes, please hit the thumbs up again. Maybe you'll take it to 14 and we'll be 100% again.
Yeah, if you've just rejoined us, I think we were causing the buffering problem because we had two PCs logged into this live stream at the same time. So we were pulling a little too much bandwidth, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Casey, you said you could come up with new questions. We need another one. It's getting quiet.
Yeah, we've exhausted the.
Lisa, I forgot to tell y'all I got another kitty. All right. A friend gave her an 8-year-old tabby mix. They're getting along well and still missing another kitty.
Thank you, Ricky. I appreciate it. Yeah, I sat down too hard and I broke the connection.
David sat back down too hard and killed the signal.
Well, and as far as the title changing, Kate said type in something for the title, so I did.
Yeah. He has the keyboard in front of him, so I said, type something.
What was my fastest car in my youth? I would have to say that was my 67 Camaro.
Yeah.
That was a nice little car. There were some modifications to it, but it was really a nice car.
And the fastest car from my youth was a 1949 Ford pickup. I've never been one for fast driving. Gratefulness doesn't look like something. Better word, though. Oh, okay. Minzy, you made it. Yay. Good to see you.
Mazda RX-3 with a rotary engine. Yep. That was it. That was, before those engines went under, they were.
And Lisa, did it go,
Now, I got to admit, my favorite fast car was my Mazda.
Yeah.
but it was a Mazda 3, but it was the modified version was called a Speed 3. 270 horsepower in a little bitty car. 6-speed transmission. It was a screamer. It really was. It was a little screamer. See, I've always believed that if you have a choice, if you want a fast car or a quick car, I prefer quick. And the Mazda really fit the bill. What do
I
we got
love the
going?
one you had in Omaha.
Oh, and my Talon? Yeah, now that was nice too. That was an all-wheel drive, pretty hot little car. It was fun. Had that for almost 15 years. Would you
Celtic,
rather
I'm
be
so
able
sorry.
to copy and paste in real life
Celtic
or
Bear lost
undo?
both of his cats.
Oh, no.
I am so sorry. Sorry. That's just. Hers was a Ford Fiesta Carrie's. Floored it and it hit 90, then got too scared and slowed down again. Not a speed girl here. Carrie, I have a problem when I'm on the freeway. When I go somewhere, like I went to that Good of the Land Fest, and I found myself going 95 without meaning to. So,
In case it answers your question, I'd like to have an undo. I really would. Cut and paste wouldn't cut it. I want an undo.
I don't think I want either. I like what's happened in my life for the most part, and I wouldn't change much of it.
There's
at
a
all.
couple of things I'd change. Yep.
Yeah, I know. You've told me.
79 RS Camaro. Oh, 383. Yeah, the 4-speed, 373. 495 horsepower. Ooh. Fastest car in 3 counties in mid-Georgia. I'll bet. Bet that was fun to drive, wasn't it? Fast cars and freedom. Too bad poor boy in here. He's going to watch his buddies race since our Pink Panther isn't ready yet.
By the way, Mimi,
Hubby loves his Corvettes. That's another good one.
tell your husband thank you for me. I really enjoyed his talk this morning. It was great. Lisa Clark said her parents bought a Mustang in the 60s.
You had smart parents. She had smart parents.
Yeah.
A Mustang in the 60s was,
Lisa says
Good
definitely an undo, Lisa Johnson.
yep, undo.
I don't think
Yep.
I'd do either one.
Well,
I really don't. Single Man says motorcycles forever. Yes! I'm with you.
I owned a motorcycle for a little while, but
I've never owned
I
one.
got disenchanted. I had a little old Honda 350, but I got disenchanted with that puppy real quick.
Well, I've never owned one, but I had a lot of friends who did, and I would go with them. And my favorite was a 1956 Harley touring bike. You could get 6 people on that bike. It was amazing.
Ecocentric says she's careful driving because she has used up her 9 lives.
Gary says I'll go 70 in Geronimo, my pickup, a Warrior, but that's on the motorway. My Canadian
Relatives.
relatives don't like our roads very narrow. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we do have good freeways here.
You're right, Freaky. A Mustang car doesn't look anything like the animal.
Ooh, 4x4 truck girl. More power to you, darling.
Yeah. Like a car from 1900 to 1940, the Stanley Steamers. Those were cool.
Interesting
cars, I
choice.
agree.
Interesting choice.
Lisa Clark says they had a Buick that could seat at least 12.
Yeah. My best friend for part time I was a kid, his father had an Imperial. That was like a frickin' tank. It was just enormous
Oh, my
inside.
goodness. G. Murphy said the Warner Robins cops used to drag race him late at night while on duty once he got clocked at 172
Whoa.
miles an hour.
That would scare me too. About 140 is the best I've ever done.
Carrie, when I was a kid,
172 miles.
I had a
an
lot
hour.
of friends that had motorcycles, and I rode with them. And often we would hit sand or soft dirt and end up laying them down, is what they call it. We'd go over on the side and crash. I was never hurt in those crashes, other than their exhaust pipes get very hot. And every time we would lay one down, I'd end up with an exhaust pipe burn on the inside of my thighs and calves.
Well, that might hurt a while.
Pardon?
That might hurt a while.
Actually, they were so hot they didn't hurt.
Not until after.
Yeah.
Well, Sigmund had a custom built 75 HD shovel head. That was a good Harley. That shovel head was a
12 cases of fruit snack.
design that lasted for a long time.
Oh, okay. Gandy's now
I think
mad.
the
That's what
birds
you're
are-
hearing in the background.
Birds are all kind of locked up right now, and they're getting pretty upset about that. Random question. Okay, describe your life using one TV show, movie title. What would it be? Oh, let's see.
The Addams Family.
The Outer Limits.
Good one, too.
Twilight Zone?
Yeah, Twilight Zone.
Yeah, above 150, that gets a little unstable, doesn't it? Yep.
Grandfather had a 1950 Indian. Those are cool.
Those were great ones, too.
Those
Those
were
Indians
cool.
were great. Put people in cases, might be a tight fit. What do you mean? I'm sorry, I lost that one.
Well, I
One
found,
Step Beyond, that's another good one. Yeah.
I found that my 2009 Ford F-150 will make it almost to 100 before I realize I'm going too fast. And I've never told him that.
Say that again. I was reading when you said that. What did you,
I know I've been
I don't
saying-
want to have to play the whole thing back. What'd you say?
I said I have found out that my 2009 Ford F-150 will go almost to 100 before I realize I'm going too fast and slow down.
Okay. Okay, let's see.
This is Clark's
Mork
brother.
and Mindy, that's a great one.
Yeah, that is a good
That's a
one.
good one. That's a good show to be. Nanu, nanu. I was overseas for most of that one. I didn't get to see it until it was in reruns.
I always thought that Robin had amazing talent, but did not get used.
Well, he did some good dramatic work too, but I mean, his brain was just wired differently than yours and mine, darling. That's
Yeah.
all there is to it. Oh, my aunt's car likes to speed up, even when there's no foot on the gas pedal. You might want to have that looked at.
Evan's Essentials said her family is Twilight Zone. What are they doing in there? Sounds like they're trying to tear things apart.
Well, that was Gandy ringing the bell on the
Oh,
green cage.
okay. Now, he can ring
He's
the bell.
he's
That's
getting
not
a little
problem.
upset with you for being in here
I
alone.
know. I'm in here without him, and he gets mad about that. And I haven't been paying attention to him lately because I've been away from home so much. He's had to spend time in his cage that he doesn't like to do. Oh, yeah. Freaky said he loved the Mork and Mindy where Mork found an egg and threw it and said, "Fly and be free."
That was probably purely Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Hardcastle and McCormick in my youth, yeah.
Do you know the very first Volkswagen I had, which was a 1973 Volkswagen Super Beetle, got 52 miles per the gallon. I've never had another one got anywhere near it of any make or model. 52 miles per gallon was wonderful, and I wrecked it because a wasp flew in, and I'm violently allergic to wasps, and I was trying to get it out without touching it, and I ran into a parked car. Oh well. Excuse me. Lisa Clark has a little Mazda. I have a little Hyundai that's been sitting in the carport for 2 years. One day I'm going to get it fixed and start driving it again. Yes,
Yep.
Carrie, that was really scary. And I did go hit the windshield.
Come on, single man, that's an old joke. My grandpa died peacefully in his sleep, unlike the passengers in the car.
Uh-huh.
Looking at a smart car, okay.
What is
that-
a smart car?
Well, it seems like they're all getting smarter every day.
that
I
one
will
of those
not.
that drive
I will
themselves?
not ever be transported in a self-driving car. I will say that up front right now. I do not. No,
Well, you love to drive.
that's true. But I'm not going to be driven around by a mindless AI. Nope.
All cars are full of electronics, Freaky Geek. If they're past 1950, they're full of electronics.
I think think my 67 Camaro was the last one I had that didn't have something electronic on it that made it. Up to then, I could fix my own cars.
Right.
After they went electronic, I was lost.
A two-seater egg-shaped car. Oh, that's the smart car. Okay.
Yeah, my dad didn't trust electric windows in cars either. He said, "What if it breaks?" So, smart cars are those tiny
The little-
two-person
the
cars,
little
little bitty
tiny
ones. Yeah.
My first G. Murphy
A
says
Seat, that must have been in Spain. Yeah, okay, a Spanish car.
1971 Seat 500, a Spanish car that he bought while he was stationed in Spain. Got
Yeah.
53 miles to the gallon and used almost as much oil.
Yeah, the Seat is basically the same as the Fiat. Of course, Fiat meant fix it again, Tony, and the Seat was no better. But I had one for a while when I was over in. I had a Seat station wagon.
Dave was stationed in Spain for a while.
Yeah, a couple times. I was down in Seville and then also in Madrid later on. Yep. Saw a smart car in the trailer. Yeah, somebody else drive me into whatever. That's not my worst fear, but it just, you think about it when you're driving, your mind being the wonderful computer that it is. We take in thousands and thousands and thousands of tiny observations. I don't care how good a computer is. It cannot scan and decide as quickly as the human mind when driving. That's all there is to it.
G. Murphy was stationed in Torrejon Air Force Base.
Hey, I was at Torrejon.
I mean, I said it almost right.
Yeah. Yep. Spent 4 years at Torrejon Air Force Base.
Loved it. Was a Peugeot.
Lived in was it Live Oak? What was the name of the place we lived?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Oh, the name of the housing area. Gosh, I've lost it.
That was your other wife.
Royal Oaks. Royal Oaks was the name of the base house, which was 20 miles from the base. But that's where my family and I lived for the time we were there in Spain. Yep. Yeah, Peugeot. I can understand that,
the one
Gary.
that pumps up?
No, but it's French. Or is it Peugeot? I think it's French. But they're not very good.
My uncle had a car right after Hurricane Carla hit Corpus Christi. He was an insurance adjuster. And he came to Corpus and he had this little car. I thought it was a Peugeot. He pulled up in front of the house in park and the engine turned off and the car settled down to flat on the ground.
Citroen.
Citroen, that's it. Strangest car I ever rode in. It was really, but it was kind of neat too. Of course, if you wanted to go anywhere in a hurry, you were out of luck because you had to sit there and wait for it to pump up before you could drive it.
Ugly as sin, but very comfortable cars and very popular in France.
Mm-hmm.
But, that air suspension was rather unique. You're right. How long were you at Torrejon, G. Murphy? And I guess when? I left there in 82, so a long time ago.
For sale, French rifles never been fired.
I like that one. Combat tested, though, never been fired. Yeah.
Driving in northern Alberta once, I looked south and saw a mule deer bolt across a clearing. I thought I'd better slow down. For me, it's going to meet up the road.
There you go. That's exactly right. No machine could do that.
So, what I don't like about the self-driving cars, quote unquote, is that right now the manufacturer is involved in a lawsuit because a self-driving car hit a woman crossing the road. They tried to sue the woman who had rented the car, but she wasn't driving, so they had to go after the company. UK, here we go. Hi.
The elk came out of the trees and ran across the road without slowing down a bit. Wow. Yeah, hitting an elk would have ruined your day.
That would have been bad. Hitting deers in South Texas are bad, but hitting an elk would have been something awful.
Hey, UK, here we go is here. You were deployed from Torrejon during the Gulf War, so yeah. Interesting base, isn't it? Torrejon is different. Yep.
Closest I ever got to that was Brownsville, Texas. I went across the border into Mexico there. Welcome back, Roberta.
I've found some nice places to go visit while I was at Torrejon. There were some really nice places to go see.
Whoa, moose in Vermont would wipe you out. I believe that. Those are huge animals. animals.
Yep. You had a muley in Oregon, total of 63 tank Plymouth. Yep. Yep. I can believe that. I've been lucky. I've never hit a big animal.
Me either.
Like I
I've
said,
never
it
hit an
can-
animal that I know of at all,
it can-
big or
it
small.
Can ruin your day.
Take that back. I ran over a snake once.
Oh, well, good for you.
I did. No, it wasn't good for me, although it was a rattlesnake, so
Well,
I didn't feel
then
too bad.
Double good for you.
But I like snakes, so I had a problem with running over one, even though it was a bad snake.
Well, deal with it.
Hmm?
Deal with it.
I did. I was 17 when I did it. I cried for about 3 days. Oh, well.
Well, more tears than a rattlesnake. Design. Anyway,
500 pounds of pure,
pure muscle. Yeah, you're right. And hard as
Back
a rock.
again, when I said third generation, it was my great-grandfather was in the British Army. Very good. Casey, a bad snake. Case, all snakes are. No, all snakes are not bad. I love snakes. I used to have a friend who sold snakes, and I would go visit. I had very long hair, and he had about a 8 to 8.5 foot boa constrictor named Daisy, and I loved Daisy, and Daisy liked me. And I would go, and she'd wrap around my neck and hide under my hair. And this was in a pretty open area where lots of people were passing by. And once she got comfortable, and I'd be talking to my friend, she'd peek out from my hair and scare people to death walking behind me. Because here I have this woman with long blonde hair, and suddenly there's a snake peeking out of them. I used to love that, but I do like snakes. Not all snakes are bad.
Yeah, G. Murphy, I really enjoyed my time there at Torrejon too. Café con leche is definitely one of my favorite drinks.
Oh, Carrie,
And a whole lot of tapas. My wife and I would go out tapa hopping quite a lot, just for that.
UK Grove, Sherwood Grove, Tony used to have snakes.
Used a couple of
Good for you, Tony. I also used to have a pet
and
tarantula.
some reticulated pythons. Yeah, knock yourself out, folks. Bearded dragons and iguanas. Hey, it takes all kinds, people. You know, I'm not a reptile kind of guy. I guess.
Single man says snakes are delicious.
Well, I've had rattlesnake.
I haven't.
And it doesn't really taste like chicken, but
I'm glad to hear that because I like chicken. I love eating.
snakes are delicious. Yep.
If I had
Now-
to choose a favorite meat, I think it would probably be chicken.
My brother-in-law, from one of the sisters that Kate lost, lives
agree
right
with
up in
Helga.
front of us here, and he's got what is his lizard? What's he got? Do you know?
I'm sorry, what is what?
What does Ron have? What kind of a lizard? Is it an iguana?
No. Chameleon.
Okay, but it's pretty big. It's about
Yeah.
6-8 inches long.
It's at least 8 to 10 inches long.
Yeah.
It's a huge one.
Used to own a business called the Roach Hut. Now there you go. We supplied live roaches to zoos and reptile keepers. Not a bad way to go.
Hey, maybe we can find a use for them.
Yeah, there we go. Start capturing our cockroaches.
When it comes to driving on
Yeah.
the road at high speeds, it's either you or the animal. Either
That's
you
very
run over
true.
it or- Yes, I agree. However, here in Texas, when people hit a deer and take the deer's life, if they call the local law enforcement authorities and register it, they can then take the carcass home and butcher it and have venison. Unfortunately, most people now don't know how to do that. So the deer lies on the side of the road and breaks
Right.
down. But I have told the local law enforcement more than once that if somebody hits a deer and don't know what to do with them, call me.
Yeah, Celtic Bear's taking off to do dinner. Thanks for being here.
Take care, Celtic.
Been very
It's good to
kind of
see
you to
you.
be here for so long. My house spiders. Yeah, we don't have many in the house, but had some banana spiders out in the garage here not too long ago that I really welcome. Those things are really
Zipper
nice.
spiders.
Yeah, the zipper spiders,
Yeah.
but banana spiders over in Florida, same thing, but they're about the same size.
Mhm.
But
We
they're
have-
fun to have around.
In Texas, we have a small spider called a Texas jumping spider. It's basically black with white dots and the biggest green eyes you've ever seen. And they're friendly. And as a child, I would encourage them in my bedroom to set up in the corner and build a nest. And they will sit up there and I would wave at them and they would have their little mandibles like this, and I'd wave and they'd wave at me. I thought they were great.
Yes, I've been to the Caves restaurant in Madrid, a lot of other places too. And the museums, I cannot tell you how many times I've been through the Prado, probably at least a half a dozen. Um, I didn't make it to Camelot, no, afraid not. But I got to go down. Went down to Valencia. We went up to Barcelona. Been all over that part of the country. Went to one of my most memorable visits was to a place called Valle de los Caídos, which is the Valley of the Fallen, and they have about a 750-foot statue there, which is a memorial to the dead on both sides in the Spanish Civil War. And it's built on top of a mountain. And what they used was granite and stuff that they bored from the mountain below. And as they took the granite out to build the statue, they turned the inside of it into a cathedral. So after you go up and see the cross, then you can go inside the mountain and visit in the cathedral where the rock was taken from. Very interesting place. Banana spiders are gorgeous. Oh, named Anastasia. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, Freaky, banana spiders look like bananas with legs. No, not really. But I call them zipper spiders because in the middle of their web, they make this thing that truly looks like a zipper. And so I call them zipper spiders, but they're beautiful and their webs are huge. Let's see.
A Mexican red knee. What is that? I'm thinking something along the lines of a big tarantula.
Single man, good for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Good for you. I would love to do that
We
too.
won't tell. Promise.
I won't tell if you share.
Yeah, it's a little late to share, probably.
Yeah, I know, but planting ideas.
Well, I hate to
Carrie,
do.
it's a tarantula.
That's what I thought. I just from the name, it sounded like a
In
tarantula.
In one place here in South Texas I lived, we used to have a big field behind us, and tarantulas lived in that field. And what I never realized until we lived there is in the wild, tarantulas travel in families. And you will see if you live in a place like that, and I saw often 8 or 10 tarantulas going together from great big ones down to the little ones. And the way they travel when they're going long distances is they bounce. They jump and bounce. So you look out on this empty field and you'd see spiders bouncing all over.
Huh.
They were fascinating.
Interesting.
And they feel soft and furry like kittens. They really do. They're very sweet. I had one as a pet, and that was right after I had learned to crochet. And I crocheted a little harness and put it on the spider, which was interesting, pinned it to my collar, and took it to school for show and tell.
I married a crazy lady.
The teacher had fits.
Well,
Yeah, she had fits.
sweetheart, we've been on well over 2 hours.
Okay, I didn't realize we'd been going so
I'm
long.
sure
You
these
guys are so wonderful.
Kind folks have got something else to do, like KC.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming by, KC. It was nice to talk to you.
thank you for
Nice to talk to
all
you.
of you for coming by. I really enjoyed seeing
Oh,
you.
the spider scream and the snake scream. Yeah, there you go.
Y'all take care, and we will see you next week.
I'll let you
Go
do
ahead.
that. Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Adios, everybody. Have a good week, all of you. God bless.